It's time for City Beat, your source for all the latest news on the city of Thompson, only on 610 CHTM.
Welcome to this week's edition of City Beat here on 610 CHTM. I'm your host, Bradley Karp, for the last time wearing my northern-themed sweater. It's a wolf sweater. For my last show here, Tim is looking very impressed with my fashion choices today. Mayor Johnston, welcome to the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll give you a couple of minutes right off the top to just run through a couple of things that have been happening here around town, maybe events you've attended or things you want to talk about.
Well, I can advise that over the last week I've had an opportunity to travel to Winnipeg for some meetings and as well as to attend a conference. The conference was the 42nd Annual Northern Association Community Councils Conference, and obviously that included a large number of communities that interact with Thompson on a regular basis. I want to thank President Reg Mead for the invitation to provide opening greetings at that conference. And while I was doing that, I had the opportunity to speak directly with the Premier of the province of Manitoba, and then speak in front of him, and I reminded him and two other cabinet ministers that were at the table that day for the opening that we need to move forward on the Northern Restorative Justice Facility and a detox facility for Northern Manitoba. That received tremendous support from the audience, and hopefully the province of Manitoba will see the value in those two projects in the near future. Also, while in Winnipeg, I had an opportunity to meet directly with the province of Manitoba and Valet, and I appreciate the invitation to include the City of Thompson in those meetings, specifically relating to the Thompson Economic Diversification Working Group, as well as specifically with regards to the 2010 decision by Valet and where that's at, as well as the current market conditions were discussed between Valet and the province, and ultimately we had a good discussion on the grant in lieu as well. And I appreciate the Deputy Minister for Energy and Mines being involved in that discussion. A couple reminders to people in terms of what's happening right now in the community. Obviously, the work has begun on Thompson Drive South, directly in front of the hospital. We have redirected traffic to access the hospital by Spruce Street. Signage is up, but again, I encourage people, there is access directly to the hospital. That work will continue during the month of August and into early September. We are doing some other work in and around the community in terms of accessibility, in terms of some of the sidewalks in the Eastwood area. And then just a reminder for people that the summer is coming to a close. Encourage people to take advantage of some of the summer programs that we have and get ready for the fall. And the big item in the fall will be the Health and Leisure Mart, which will be held in early September, which will coincide with the grand opening of the Thompson Regional Community Center. So that's an update on some of the activities over the last week and some of the events coming.
Thank you very much. 677-8181, 677-8181, taking your questions directly to Tim Johnston, the Mayor of the City of Thompson, 204-677-8181. Mayor Johnston, you mentioned you had an opportunity to speak directly with the Premier, and you touched on the topic of a restorative justice facility here in the north. What was his response? Did he give any indication either way?
No, and we know that the province had asked for the Correction Capacity Review Committee to report to the Minister of Justice. We understand that report has been provided. Of course, the City of Thompson made a presentation, and we hope that the province will see the value in terms of a facility in northern Manitoba. Obviously, it's under consideration by the province, so they definitely did not tip their hat.
Looks like we do have a caller. We'll be going to the caller in just a second, very quickly. Guess I'll ask another question. Doesn't look like it's a caller. Hold on 1 second as I get the information here from Don. And it's William. Please ask your question, hang up, and listen back to the answer.
Hi, how's everyone going?
Good.
Question about our, we've had water breaks and they actually dug up the streets on both sections. I was just wondering when they'll be able to get those paved.
I missed which street it was?
Centennial West.
Centennial West. I will follow up with admin. I'm not exactly aware of the specific situations with respect to the breaks, so I can follow up. I can tell you that we do have a process in place when we do breaks, and we with both the Recreation Department as well as Public Works. So I would have to follow up and find specifically, and encourage perhaps. If you want, contact me afterwards. The cell 6790915, and I will follow up with Public Works to get an answer.
677-8181, 204-677-8181, taking your questions directly.
You shouldn't approach.
204-677-8181, Mayor Johnston, in regards to some of the clear cutting that has happened on Riverside Drive by Smooks in the last couple of weeks. Could you just discuss what that was for potential housing development, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, I understand it's drawn a fair bit of attention, and a fair bit of inaccurate information, unfortunately, has gone out with respect to that development. I can tell you that the proponent, KDS Developments, has entered into an agreement, which was passed by resolution by Council, to develop R1 lots along Riverside, and as part of that, they cleared the trees, and they will be selling those lots for development. I understand there's a fair bit of interest. This was one of the opportunities the city had to use existing infrastructure. There will be some additional infrastructure put in by the developer, but really to use a lot of existing infrastructure and provide some new R1 lots, and I'm very pleased that we can move forward on that development, and I look forward to construction in the near future.
204-677-8181, 204-677-8181. Mayor Johnston, last regular meeting of City Council, there was one bylaw that was read for a second time, the Sunday shopping bylaw, and it was defeated. Now my understanding is that the city can bring it back for a rereading. Is that something that might be happening at the next regular meeting of Council?
I have not been made aware formally of that, that it will be brought back. As we've seen in the past, Council does have that option, but an individual councillor would have to make a motion to do so. The debate took place. We had first and second reading, and at the most recent meeting it was defeated based on a tie vote, and that goes with procedures that we follow in terms of council. Again, it will be up to individual councillors to do that. I can tell you that in all honesty, I always accept the decision of council, and I think that if council wants to continue to have a debate, that's fine, but you also have to move on to other issues and do that. In this case, I wasn't necessarily on the side that the positive side of the outcome of that, but I accept that as a council decision, and we'll see where it goes. But we also have other issues that we have to move on to as well.
204-677-8181, 204-677-8181, taking your questions directly to the Mayor of the City of Thompson regarding anything to do with municipal politics or anything to do with stuff happening here in the city. 204-677-8181. There's another bylaw brought forth regarding the DSFM for a zoning change for the old Sable building. Excuse me. I've heard some concern from residents regarding physical activity, green space available at that lot. Is it sufficient enough to house a school of 80 students and have them have enough room for outdoor activities? Is there a plan in place with DSFM to, fence in the current lot, or maybe try and expand the green space there somehow, if any way?
Well, absolutely. It was a good discussion at the meeting. I appreciated the presentation that was made by the proponent. Clearly indicated that this is a temporary action, likely in the range of 5, perhaps 10 years. Council very clearly identified some concerns with green space, with traffic, with that zoning in that area, and so it did pass unanimously first reading. It'll move on to second reading. There will be some public consultation that is required, and I look forward to the feedback from the community. We will be again posting a survey on our website to gain any feedback from the community, but I appreciate the debate, the information that's been put forward. We certainly have some concerns, but I believe that this is the process we use to ensure that we can work through those concerns and get to a resolve that hopefully meets everyone's needs and protects the interests.
204-677-8181, 204-677-8181. Taking your questions directly to Tim Johnston, the mayor of the city of Thompson. Mayor Johnston, just about a year ago at this time, a new test strip was put in the Burnwood Trailer Court with some extra drainage work that was done, and then a new layer of asphalt was laid down. How's it holding up, and what's the city's plans to, continue the drainage operation and perhaps fully repave the trailer court?
Well, it's a very timely question. I can tell you that I took the opportunity this week to drive that the test area. I'm very pleased with the results. I can tell you that I think it's held up no different than any other street in the neighborhood or in the community, so I think that that's good. You've hit on the key aspect, and that is drainage in the BTC. We did, prior to putting down that test strip, we did improve the drainage in that specific area. I can tell you that there is a special meeting of council that has been now called by myself for Monday evening to address a number of issues, and one of them is drainage, and a study by AECOM that we want to move forward with this year to continue that work to address the drainage, which will enable us to move forward with asphalting. I'm absolutely committed to ensuring that over a period of time, and I think that is in the range of 3 to 5, max hopefully 7 years, to get the BTC paved. But our first step is to correct the drainage, and we will be putting forward a resolution for council to consider and move forward with implementing that drainage program starting this year.
What other items are going to be on the agenda for Monday night?
We will be dealing with, I believe, 3 items in terms of that meeting. The other one has to do with a resolution regarding the Thompson Regional Community Center. And then I believe the BTC, and now you've got me, I've forgotten the third item, and I just called the meeting earlier today, so that shows I'm starting to show my age.
It's okay. And what would that resolution be regarding the TRCC?
I believe it will be referring to naming of areas and the facility overall.
Okay.
Which will be announced at the grand opening, but will not be included in the resolution.
All right, so I guess we'll have to wait until the grand opening to find out.
Have to wait and encourage people to come out. I'm very pleased with where we're moving.
204-677-8181. Just a couple minutes left. 204-677-8181. If we have no more calls, close things off on a bit of a lighter note. Have you heard anything regarding the possibility of junior A hockey, or have there been any further discussions between the city and the MJHL, or the group within the city and the MJHL themselves?
Well, I can advise that I did have the opportunity while in Winnipeg to sit down with the commissioner of the league, Kim Davis, and had an informal opportunity regarding discussion, and I'm very pleased, and I'm grateful to the volunteers, and led by Glenn Laycock here in Thompson, have been working hard on a proposal, and I think that they've been trying to work cooperatively with the league and determine the level of interest in Thompson, and I think that we'll continue to do that. As you're aware, the league just underwent 2 significant events. One was the relocation of a team to Virden from Winnipeg, and the second one was a change in ownership in Steinbach. So I think that the league will likely need to adjust to those 2 things, but I am a huge an avid supporter of bringing junior A hockey back, not as my necessarily role as the mayor, but as a resident, and so I'll continue to support and assist Glenn wherever I can, and really that was the intent of the conversation, and I look forward to hopefully continuing that work.
All right, thank you very much. We'll give you just about a minute and a half to close things out with any messages to residents.
Well, again, I just want to thank people for their cooperation with some of the work that's going on in and around the community right now. August is always a very busy month from a capital point of view in terms of the work that's done. Encourage safety in and around those work sites. I want to again encourage families to get out and enjoy what's left of our summer here in Thompson, and the weather's certainly been cooperating, so there's lots to do, and I encourage people to get out, and again, safety first. And I want to wish you all the best as you move on to the PAW and Junior A hockey, I might add.
Thank you.
I'm pleased you're wearing that Wolf sweater, so you're covering up your allegiance to your favorite NHL team, which I don't necessarily on the same page with you, but
it's okay.
I wish all the best. I want to thank you, and I certainly appreciate the opportunity to initiate this show. I mean, it was one of those things we talked about a lot. I like being able, as you know, I love talking about Thompson. I like being able to field questions, and I encourage people to do that, so it's been a good opportunity. I hope we can continue the show after you go on.
The show will continue with Jared in my chair, so from now on you'll be talking to him, and residents will be calling into him, and thank you very much for letting this show happen. I think it's been a good thing for the community. I've heard only good things about it, so thank you, Mayor Johnston.
Excellent.
All right, that'll wrap things up for this week. Next week, we'll be back once again, 11:30 on Thursday to 1:45. Your host that week will be Jared Schneider. Thank you very much for calling. All the listeners, enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy this weekend.
City Beat will be back next Thursday morning at 11:30.